Well, welcome to case number 6, where we stab people with knives and pretend they are deaded by knife, but actually poison, but actually not poison, but poison, and not poison, and therefore we have knives, and there are most likely 2 knives, except we only know of 1 knife, and a photo that depicts a knife that is not even in our case and things. Also, a lot of hair on the head. For some people. I guess. Alright. Oh god, we actually left in this part. Oh no. I was kind of stuck at this point, because I don't really know what to present. But we also found out that this pen has a reservoir, and RM doesn't stand for Bambi's name, it stands for the reporter's name. So I thought this is the pen of the reporter, which was perfectly clear from the get-go because he has an ink stain on his hand.
Hold it!
I'm not going to read this because we already read through this. All that was inside the hut was a scoop. Well, we already have established, at least I have established, that he set up the entire scene. Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. There's nothing to be said against that, because like I talked about it last time, I think she was already dead at that point. And he actually put her on the stool, making her sit there.
Hold it!
Okay. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. So this sentence makes zero sense from the same guy we heard that they had an argument, and is actually coming up to that point again, where he said like, they had an argument, both of them stood up, went in the middle of the hut, and they switched places. He even gave us a plan where he showed that Bambi was actually with her back towards the back of the hut, and the English woman had her back against the entrance. And here he clearly lies. He says, seconds later the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the English woman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. Which makes no sense, because he literally said that they argued and changed places before that. Like, she didn't come in and pulled out a knife and killed her. So I wanna try this, but I expect that the court is like, man, you are dumb. Of course this cannot be.
Objection!
Your Excellency, I must object the witness's last statement. And the evidence you've thrust in my direction is supposed to prove your point? Yes, it does. I apologize, I did present it rather more forcefully than I would intended to. You will kindly refrain from these overly exuberant outbursts. See, it's just... Why? I hate this game series when it's literally giving me like a situation like that. The person itself contradicted themselves. We even have a proof that proves this point, and the game is like, no, it's going against my programming.
Hold it!
And now we come to this point where he literally explains that his last sentence is a lie. I'm sure that the English woman was on this stool at the back of the hut here. And this is fact. We have from two different sources that this is correct. And nothing speaks against that. Then, the next moment as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut arguing furiously. And now he literally just explained in this sentence that his last sentence is a lie. Because in the last sentence he said like, she showed up, drew a knife and killed her. And now he suddenly explains to us that they argued and then they both got up into the middle of the hut, keep arguing furiously, then even switched places. English woman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way and they switched places. And now he says that she stabbed her in the back. even as they passed each other. Which, of course, is a lie. And this is why I don't know what to do here. The smoldering journal spirit burst into flames. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera, ready to click.
Hold it!
God is fully aware of your desire to capture the incident on film, I'm sure. But why then did you choose to post a photograph anonymously to the police? He doesn't answer here because he set up the scene so he could frame Bambi. I can already read that without having the actual facts on the table. It's clear as a day. And he's not going to answer this or lie his way out of it, as he did. And because if he would have given the police this photo, he would have to explain why he took a photo of a murder scene and not stopping the murder. Yeah. And the best part, he's justifying it by saying this is what a journalist is doing. Observe, not engage into an event. That's his justification. Like, even if I think he murdered her, but even if he didn't, he is an accomplice because he didn't stop the murder from happening. And he does it in the name of journalism. Think of me as a sculptor who makes art out of sordid private details of other people's lives. But I never discuss my own personal life on principle. Sure, ruin the lives of others, but your personal life is holy, right? Even he is like an idiot. He's like, oh yes, helping someone to die, that is the true desire, burning desire and justice. Why is she even thinking about that? Of course he doesn't want that. I pulled about the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot. Even here is nothing that we can say against.
Hold it!
But the two women inside didn't notice. Obviously not. If they had, where would I be right now? In jail. That's where you're going anyway. I like his stance of like, the point is the witness risked life and limb to obtain this photograph. Like, sure, bro. I never once set foot in the hut, which is a lie, nor spoke with the English woman, which is a lie. I was there only as an observer, which is a lie. We can even look at the photo, you know. We can even look at this photo. What do you see? You see barefoot and you see shoes. You see shoes of a very big foot size. And that is definitely not what Bambi was wearing at the beach. She had already a swimsuit on, so she would either be barefoot or she would have some kind of Japanese footwear on. But these prints are huge, and he is the only one running around in British clothing, which these footsteps would basically fit to. So it's just... Am I supposed to present here this photo? Is that the idea? I'm going to try it. I mean, there's no failure point.
Objection!
It can kill me a point, but... Okay, it's wrong. Yeah. I hate this. I hate this so much because I have like evidence to clearly point out that he is lying. And this is my last sentence. I could do something against it. Really? You didn't set a foot inside the hut at all? Are you quite sure about that? I think you may have the wrong impression of me. Talking about a murder scene here. My nerves were stretched to the breaking point already. Oh, I see. You were scared? That's all I could do. Stifle a scream and hold my hands steady enough to snap the shot. See? He is the most logical person in this room. He literally says it, like you should have intervened or called for help before taking a snapshot. And this is his justification. Mini-me and humanism don't always agree, and most of the time in those instances, mini-me comes out on top. It's like dumbest argument ever. As a sculptor of stories, sometimes I have to be cruel for my art. Yes, that's spot on. I don't know what I should do here. Does seem as though he's holding something back. So how I feel suggests that you trust your instinct and press him on everything he said. I just did twice. So you've no doubt done many times before and you're wrong. I know exactly what to do. The problem is I don't know where to present anything. Okay. So there's one gap. He says it was made of shoddy reed weavings, and Reed Weavings is an actor related to Hugo Weaving. But when we look at this hut, there's only one instance we see where there is like a shoddy thing. It's basically this, but otherwise, would you call that shoddy? I wouldn't say so. I'm going to present this, but it's not going to work, so... Who fucking cares, right?
Objection!
Okay, it was wrong. Goodbye, point.
Hold it!
Perhaps because, as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman. Englishman was sitting on a stool when the student girl, why do I always say game instead of girl, came in and started arguing with her. I have nothing that would speak against that. I also cannot do anything about that. We already did look at this blade. The blood. There's nothing on that. I still say that this is not the blade in the photo. I will be like this. This is not the same blade. It's just not the same blade. But I'm pretty sure she's barefooted. So was Miss Brad. None of them had shoes on. Even the smallest amount entering the body via mouth or via wound. And I'm pretty sure she got poisoned by drinking the wine and wasn't actually stabbed with the blade, because we already know the blade had no poison on it. So this is also not proving anything. We have already established that this is the pen. And we have also established this. And it's empty. I don't think there's anything. Ah, wait. This is the proving point that this pen belongs to him. Because he has the same symbol wearing. I mean, it's already clear that this is him, but this is the proving point we need. There's some sort of emblem here, look. But it isn't a university one. It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. That would seem to imply that the pen doesn't, in fact belong to Ray. What have we changed here? Fountain pen bearing the initials RM and an emblem of some description. There's a very small amount of liquid still inside the ink reservoir. Okay. So that was a missing part we had there. I don't think there's anything here that we need to establish. Also nothing here. So where can I use this? I mean, you see, he has the armband with the logo of, I guess, his newspaper. But where do I put this down? Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student arguing with her. That's not the key I wanna press. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman on the floor, stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journalist spirit burst into flame. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through the perfect shot. I never once set foot in the hut. But now we have this. Bitch.
Objection!
Meanwhile, until now, I've had a firm belief that the newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth. What was the voice I gave him? You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Show You News on my arm. In a way, that's more mini-me. Sadly though, it seems that the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth.
What are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, Counsel?
Meanwhile, son, do you recognize this fountain pen? This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brad's death. Is that Camel Cedar from Persona? I don't know, since I barely know any Persona games apart from 4? In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died.
What are you?
If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. RM.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Bambi.
Is it a coincidence, I wonder, that your initials are also RM?
No!
Take the hat off and I won't be able to tell the difference. Well, maybe it was their intention to do exactly that. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, his name is Raiten Many Memo, which translates to write many memos. That's horse dung! Shut up! No swearing in my court! Can't you see one of the central tenets of Minimi is being a pencil user? Yes, because the ink blotch on your hand is very pencil use. Kamosida is a kid diddler, by the way, for context. Okay. And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see on your right hand, there's a very obvious blue ink stain. It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horse dung! Horsey horse dung? Minmo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Jezebel Bread in that beach hut?
Objection!
Why would we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse.
Exactly. Show You News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the sky. Too bad that on the fountain pen there is also the logo of your newspaper. The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is. In that case, counsel, the defense will now show the court where this alleged clue lies, because I have no eyes. Of course, Your Excellency. I wish I could, but sadly I can't. I have to point it exactly out because the game will not accept anything else. Why are we repeating this text? Oh, because I always misclick. I should present this and not look at it. As well as the initials, there's also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will, of course, recognize. Minmo-san. Goodness me. It is the emblem of the Show You News. Show You News. Oh my god. The depths of this game. Show You News. Oh no. In other words, the owner of this pen. Show You is soy sauce. I know, but when you spell it, Show You News. They're constantly doing this with every name in this game. It's horrible. Is an employee of the Show You News. Show these nuts. Yes, please. Whose initials are RM. Suddenly the stars in the sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Minmo-san, how do you respond? Order. Explain yourself, witness. So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets. I've used nothing but honest tactics. Alright then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, I, a show you news reporter on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the English woman. An interview?
You never mentioned this before.
When exactly was this? As I said, it was before the evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. It couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, and as we mini-me's say, the people don't pay their dues for unworthy news. However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired. Got it, yes, alright, but on one condition, you cannot make conditions in court.
Condition?
In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Sasuke. But I don't want to. Sasuke? Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own. And brace yourself, because it is not a harmless one. It's big. Like these nuts. Mini-Me states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story. Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand. Sasuke, hiding something? He's not nervous or anything. I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Which is strange that you just mentioned this when you said before you had a 2 to 3 minute interview encounter with the Englishwoman. He's not very good at lying. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witness come running. The detective realized the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. Where does this come from now? That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why Mini-Me demands I reveal it now. You mean to say the victim?
The victim regained consciousness?
Well,
And when she said, And when she did, you decided to ask her a question?
That's, true, yes. He did, and that's not all. The woman gave him a very definite answer. An answer that incriminates the accused.
This is preposterous. Why I'm only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack?
It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose the withering English Rose a question, I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious even. Counsel for the defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. This court must and will know the truth.
Absolutely, Your Excellency. The report is claiming that Miss Brad implicated Bambi somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut?
They had cake. I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss, which contradicts that what you just said before this. But hey, whatever.
Hold it!
You asked her for an interview, you say?
Well, of course I did. I wanted to ask her about the incident she was involved in and at the end of last year.
About the case in which Dr. John H. Wilson lost his life.
That's not the way I phrased it. Mini-me calls for straight talking. I'm out. Why did you murder Dr. Wilson, is how I put it to her.
Yes, that sort of talking is as straight as a ruler.
Ask every question as if you are asking for a menu in a restaurant, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that.
And how did Miss Brad answer?
With one simple phrase. Mystery is a woman's charm. Did you or did you not murder this person?
Mystery is a woman's charm.
In other words, you could also just say yes. Phew, that told me, so I waltzed right out of there.
Really, something about that doesn't quite seem to fit together.
Leave every room as if you're waltzing in a dance hall, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper told me that. Good job. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witness come running.
Hold it!
That was very persistent of you, considering that Miss Brad had just turned you away.
Persistence wins the prize. Any mini-me will tell you that. Let them think you've left, then just when they lower their guard, that's when you swoop in for the scoop.
And the fruits of your labor are all too apparent in this telling photo. Though I'm sure the young yokel student would rather not be reminded of this damning evidence.
Actually, it's thanks to that photo that we managed to identify this witness.
And now that you have found me, I Now that you've found me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. And whatever you want to hear. I've got everything to hide.
I'm sure.
Please do go ahead, witness. The court is eager to hear what you have to say.
Try to stop me. There's a story to tell here, and I'm going to tell it. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help.
Hold it!
And Saskia remained behind in the hut?
That's right. Yep. Our author friend here was a blabbering wreck, shaking all over from his head to his toes, mustache twitching, eyes bulging. What do you expect? You don't know the terrifying troubles that taunted me whilst traveling abroad. Back behind baleful bars, they'll be coming for me surely. That's all I could think. I felt as though I were gasping for air, drowning in a sea of cold sweat.
Poor Saskia. His experience in London have scared him deeply, scarred him deeply.
As the world seemed to close in around me, I quietly recited a prayer to Amida Buddha. Eternal emptiness, empty eternity, the end is coming for me surely. No sutras are to resound in my courtroom, please. And now we come to the crucial part. That's when it happened. That's when this riderman here asked the woman a very significant question.
Hold it!
What question? What exactly did he say?
Not even Buddha can save him from that one. That is absolutely true. Well, now you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Riderman? Ah!
Out with it, you yokel hack! What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying Englishwoman?
Well, in truth, an undead will make a pilgrimage to Anor Londo. Oh, wait. I'd be catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then, all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for the help pierced the air.
Ray,
I ran up the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as Inspector Hosonaga saw Miss Brad on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. Inspector Hosonaga. Hosonaga. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan. A moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin.
but what did you ask her, Saskia?
I asked her, who did this to you? Don't protract this any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't. She said nothing in response.
but
When in the stand, you will answer the questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand that you amend your testimony.
I will.
Will he? I asked her who did this to you, but she never replied.
Hold it!
So you tried to find out who the culprit was?
He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains. He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. And having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever.
However, you've indicated that the victim failed to respond. Is that correct?
I know why. I know why the English woman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my stoop because of my stoop and mustache, because I'm Japanese.
Oh dear. Saskia has really developed a dislike for the English, it seems.
Having read the report on his time in Great Britain, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia. Oh, Japan and xenophobia. Hooray. But the English woman didn't ignore you at all. Did she, Mr. Ryder's man?
Well, yes. Alright, she did respond, in a manner of speaking, I suppose. She just lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant.
Hold it!
Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant? Sasuke, is that really true?
It just doesn't work because this guy explained that they stood up, they fight, they changed places. Bambi was standing inside the hut. The English woman was with her back towards the entrance. If she stabbed her in that moment, she would basically fall down with her feet facing the entrance. It's all weird.
It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut,
Now it's getting interesting.
the English woman was sprawled on the floor before us, with the student girl standing on the far side of her. And when I asked who did this to you, the English woman summoned her last ounce of strength, the strength to point a trembling finger at the back of the hut.
Yes, because there is our journalist who did this. She was just standing in the way. It's so clear. This case is so clear, and it's gonna make it a huge problem for no reason at all.
Which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of the student girl who stands accused today. No.
Sasuke, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your original testimony?
But fiddlesticks, I say.
This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. But you're all talking English.
Hi. So desu ne. The English woman did point her finger towards the back of the hat, but I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And thinking about it, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction to where the student girl was standing. To somewhere at the back of the hut where nobody was standing at all. You mean that your memory of the events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both unclear? Yes, that's it. Unclear. I'm very, very unclear.
Objection!
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt. Let's decapitate the defendant. Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly. But there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because, as the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing.
Wrong.
It is now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could possibly have committed this crime.
I am inclined to agree because I am as dumb as you. And in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial. Off with everybody's head.
No, no.
The headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyer's hopes dashed. 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition. This is a serious blow, Susie. Unless we are able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence. The judge will give this ruling and the trial will be over.
But that's impossible, Father. The clues are all here. Why is everybody denying, using their eyes? We don't even know how the crime was committed yet.
Impossible, though the task may seem, we have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need.
Ray gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened, the precise moment Miss Brad was killed. The English woman was sitting at the back of the hut listening to what I was saying. And then, a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. How could Miss Brad have been stabbed in the back in the beach hut that was empty, but for herself and Ray? It's a mystery. I don't even understand. I cannot grasp even the beginning of this logical conclusion. Somewhere amid all the information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question.
This entire court is nothing but a horse... a gathering of horses, and all you have to do is go inside, take a shotgun and shoot all of them. Every single person inside this court, shoot them. Holy moly. This is like, I could say, almost below the levels of witch hunts and witch trials. Like, this is not even triple facepalm worthy. That would be honoring the level of stupidity I see in this court. I take it then that the defense has nothing further to add.
How about we do a Sami Mummy? I learned that in England.
So, the gallant yokel student's luck finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised.
In that case, I'm ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter.
This is a crucial turning point now. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over. Also, I'm reconnecting to my chat. And I'm back. Congratulations. Where was the real culprit hiding, and how did he or she stab the victim? I don't know! I just don't know. This is too much. This is too clever, this court case.
Objection!
Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being.
Oh, to what end, counsel?
The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection!
An alternative theory? None exists.
Objection!
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime.
What?
And the victim, Miss Brad, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time by mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction.
This is science fiction, fantasy, Lord of the Rings.
Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, counsel, I'm prepared to hear your alternative theory. Oh no, I'm reconnecting to my chat. What's going on, Twitch? Stop twitching. So, young Ryu Naruhodo,
Yes, Your Excellency.
you will present your latest theory about the court to the court by means of this plan. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the culprit was concealed? I would say he was here in the luggage. Yes, we all talked about Mini-Me so much. So Mini-Me was in... Oh, no? Okay. It was clearly in the champagne. Oh, wait.
Naruhodo-san would never give up, and I'm a Naruhodo now. The true culprit who fatally stabbed Miss Bread was concealed in this location here.
You are pointing at your opposite lawyer.
Yes,
Are you mad, counsel? You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut? Oh.
What?
Order, order, order. But a student lawyer, Naruhodo-san Esquire, that makes no sense at all. You've just pointed out at the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap. Why is he even... Not only is he bad at lying, and he literally just... Why? But I didn't see any suspicious individuals loitering about, I can swear to that.
Obviously. If the culprit had been outside the hut, there's no way that he or she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut. Impossible. Look at the reeds. They're made out of metal.
actually, prosecutor Ouchie, there is a way.
Oh.
And in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that that is precisely the way Miss Brett was killed.
You're bluffing. You're bluffing. This is nothing but...
Shut up. The defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You will need to give us more guidance, counsel. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from the outside of the hut? It clearly is this knife. No, it's actually that picture. And if it doesn't accept this picture as proof, then I will fucking go to Japan, to Capcom, and I will yeet every single person there into a volcano.
Well, I've presented it now, but I haven't the first idea why I chose this piece of evidence.
Counsel, you're suggesting that this piece of evidence bears out your theory as to how the victim was stabbed.
It's something of a windfall, Your Excellency.
I think...
I will now go to Japan, find Capcom, and I will take the entire building with every single last person inside, and I will throw them into a volcano. And then I will take this volcano and throw it into our sun. Are you fucking kidding me? Hi, Bob. Shut up, Judge. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. You know, it's not accepting the most obvious photo, but instead it wants this photo, right? Because this photo is so much more evidence than a clear picture where someone jabbed an entire camera through it. The original photo of the crime scene. Oh.
Yes, it's clearly visible in this print, as it wasn't clearly visible on the other print, and you committed decapitation on Ray. But she's alive again. Good for us. The trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from outside the beach hut.
Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of any such thing.
I'm not sure that everyone present. I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone at least appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to.
Counsel, once again, I must call on you to be explicit for the court because I forgot my glasses. Where on this photograph is the trace of the stabbing which you claim to took place from the... What? Where on this photo is the trace of the stabbing which you claim took place from outside the hut? Where on this photograph is the trace of the stabbing? The trace? Or still the place?
Look closely, just here. In the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds.
No, it can't. I can't see any such thing. Let me take off my glasses so I can see better. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Trace in this case is used to mean small amount. Yeah, okay. You know, I read trace and I was like, what trace? Do you want me to point out blood? Because we are talking about where she was stabbed? And I was like, Or is it trace from two kinds?
It's true that the hut in question had 4 walls, as you would expect. However, the hut has 4 walls, but no ceiling. There's no ceiling on the hut, so therefore the murder was a ninja. He waited at the top of the hut and used the knife with magic and threw it into her bag from above. Knife ninjutsu. By parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them.
This is extra common. Yes, it is. Yeah, but one of those dumb English things where we have way too many words, but instead of using all the words, we just keep assigning more meanings to the few we like. For real, for real.
Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut.
Ah!
And of everyone present at the scene, there's only one person who could have done that. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Bread was killed. Write a mini memo. It could only have been you. You are the chosen one. We take your head tonight. Nani?
Objection!
Of course he has objections to that.
This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless, but luckily it doesn't, so I still say bullshit. Just look at the photo again. The victim lies almost exactly in the center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume, as part of this partial scenario, that the assailant was a knife thrower?
We had so many descriptions how this scene plays out, and it's like, oh yes, I'm pretty sure that a person who is just being poisoned and then stabbed from the back is not just like sitting there on the stool and goes like, I like knives between my ribs from the back. Ah, yeah, right there. Oh. Or maybe she would react and try to get away from the knife, standing up and then falling down. Completely unrealistic.
Objection!
No, of course not.
We are not?
If you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brad. Moving after being assaulted by surprise? Unheard of, yes. Why would you have pain? Because we all know pain is French for bread. And she was Miss Bread. So why would she be feeling anything if there's more bread in Miss Bread? But she just sat on the stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable.
A stool?
Of course it's not on this photo. Look at this, you dumb fool. This is a stool. Have another look at the photo. The slit in the reed screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool. My word! So in fact, the victim was a woman. Killed while sitting on that stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the reed screen. Ah! Having been attacked, Miss Brad rose to her feet instinctively. But then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut. Before the defendant, Bambi-san's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on that beach day. By your silence, Minmo, I take it that you don't deny the charge.
This is absurd!
Extremely absurd. That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit? Is this tacit? 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 It must be tacit, right? What is the word tacit even? The heck? Tacit. Tacit means silent. Tacit. We could also say silent instead of using words that nobody uses anymore. But hey, whatever. We have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter. Which means that the defendant Bambi is innocent of the crime.
Oh, thank goodness. I finally made him cave.
I must say, I've never been more proud.
No, this can't be. The Ouchie clan can't. What of my growth? My growth of hope?
Tacit is used specifically for speech and conversation. It can be used to mean without words and gestures. I never heard of the word tacit in my entire life. It has a parallel meaning to silent, but is distinct. Yeah. Still, I never heard of this word ever in written form, in spoken form. Never.
It wasn't all an apparition. I can't accept this. I won't.
I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. Therefore, we're going to finally end this trial, give the next case to the UK, and then we come back here where this guy is going to commit another murder. Or maybe he's just going to die, so we have another case in Japan. Who knows? It is older and does not get used a lot in modern lingo. Subtly and nuance in Western English is dead. The words subtly and nuance, or do you just mean that the word is dead in our in our society here? Oh, no, forget it. I understand what you meant. No, yeah. I mean, modern English sucks. Yes, no, maybe. I mean, language is always evolving, sometimes in the worst, like bay. I will therefore move to conclude to the proceedings of Hold It! I expected fully that this would happen. Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in the mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals. But, there's still the poison that hasn't been established yet, and we have a tincture that can prove poison. We have a pen where the poison was stored, but we haven't used it yet.
We've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut through the reed screen walls.
And no one but you was in place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. And now he's going to point out his fingerprints are not on the blade, but instead Bambi-san's fingerprints are on the blade. Except I still stand by this. The blade we have is not the blade in the picture. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the Englishwoman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now.
Irrelevant?
Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed. It doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. She died by poison, so therefore it doesn't matter that I stabbed her while she was still alive. Perfectly legal excuse. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. This case has so many flips that make no sense. Yes. Don't worry, this always happens in every case. It's the reason why you lose synapses when you play this game, even if you just observe this game.
What are you talking about?
Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up.
What?
Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness. I once thought about getting the DS games for this series, but thought better of it when I read some guides of the early levels. Oh, you have no idea. I have another Ace Attorney game in my library, sadly. What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course.
The poison?
Let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that a deadly poison you were developing was stolen from the laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right? That is correct. The usual constriction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign that this particular poison was used. I see. So, presumably that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed. It doesn't excuse to stab a still alive person who is poisoned. And even then, let's say even she was poisoned and already actually dead and he stabbed her in the back, that would still count as a crime. So he really is going for the "they were gonna die so I can stab all I want" argument. Yes, he is a dork. Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her blood.
How refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Precisely. It's a matter, it matters not a jot who stabbed whom in whose back and with whose blade.
Here's the point, he just said it doesn't matter who stabbed whom with the blade, so therefore instantly it means Bambi is innocent. Because the one thing that frames her is a photo of her stabbing the woman. Of course they're going to take now the poison as a reason and say like that she stole it from the laboratory and used it. I mean, I have already established that the poison was in the glass of wine Miss Brad drank. But it was not there because Bambi put it in there. It was there because he did.
Because quite simply the Englishwoman's life was taken not by the knife, but by the poison.
Objection!
Poison.
But that can't be explained by the poison being on the blade. That, as I already...
No. We have established that the blade had no poison.
Objection!
Forgotten already? Have we, yokel? During these very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever.
No.
So let me get this down. The facts, as skillfully established by the defense in this trial, turn out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right?
Well...
And she died. Order. But where does this leave us? How, in that case, did the poison enter the victim's body? Do we need really to establish that when it's so clear? There is an undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it. I hate the word imbibed. You know, you can take it apart and it would say, am by bed. I'm by bed.
You mean she drank it?
Have another look at the photo here, as you can see. A bottle of carbonated water. Carbonated water, yes. Yes, of course, carbonated water. That's why we have back there champagne. And this looks like a wine bottle. Carbonated water. A bottle of carbonated water and the glass had been knocked onto the sand floor on the beach hut. The poison could have been slipped into either.
So somebody made Miss Brett drink it.
Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This will make a great front page shot. Hey! Hey! Why the bewitching stare? After all, I am the last person you should be looking at. I only stabbed the lady. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already. Has it? You went into the hut and had a 2 to 3 minute interview with her.
Hold it!
Established? What are you talking about?
Don't tell me you have forgotten. That's a little hard to believe given the person who established it was you. Why would I poison someone and then stab them? I will tell you why. Maybe he just wanted to make sure she was... No. The reason why it all happened this way is very easy to explain. He poisoned her, put her down on the stool, so she was not yet dead. She had the poison, but she couldn't speak and probably not really much move. So he put her on the stool after she was poisoned, then went to the back of the hut. What he then did, he waited for Bambi to show up because he knew she was there. So then she was starting to argue with Miss Brett, who couldn't answer because she couldn't actually speak. What he then did is stabbing her from behind through the hut. She, in reaction, stood up, fell down on the sand, and what he then did is putting his camera through it for the shot that framed Bambi, because she saw the blade, she saw her eyes, and concluded that the blade was poisoned. So she took the blade out of her back, and that moment he took the photo. He wanted that photo so he could frame her. But we also know that Miss Bread basically stole this poison from the laboratory because she had access to it. And he either stole it from her or he had a deal with her that she is giving him the poison. The only other thing is he also poisoned her and then framed Bambi with it to make nobody notice that he was actually there and that he actually has the poison. That is what I can easily conclude out of this. There was no reason to stab her in the first place. I think he only did it out of the situation. The whole thing is silly, yes.
Me? What on earth does he mean?
Oh, let me capture those wide eyes. This is prime press fodder. This is it. This is. It would seem that this trial is not destined to end yet after all. We are going for another 3 hours. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony. That is great, that is. Let me get a shot of that magnificent beard, Your Excellency. You claim it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim. You will explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make such a claim. I'm a Jonah, and I'm a man. I've never tried to run or hide from anything in my life. And I'm not about to start now, because that's mini-me.
For a brief moment, I thought I'd illuminated the truth, but it's slipping right back into obscurity again.
No, it's not.
Just where is this trial going to take us?
To insanity. Ah, yes, I stabbed the English woman, and it's that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Yes, I shot this person with my gun, and this proves that I'm innocent. Very logical. Because why would I have bothered to stab a woman if I'd already poisoned her? I just explained that. When I heard the student girl and that When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, I got my goat. It got my goat. It got my goat? What does that mean? He's eating cans? If the court weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done. And therefore I stabbed her. But I'm innocent. Got my goat means made me mad or riled me up. Who says that?
So, you admitted then that everything happened as I described?
That you are the one who stabbed...
That you are the one who stabbed Miss Bread in the back through the read screen?
We don't even have goats. I'm pretty sure that might have its origins in Britain or something like that. You can You can blame this miserable country of ours. What? A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and let murderers walk free. Yeah, okay, he has a point there. Like, it wasn't okay that she got out of court and even could walk around mostly freely and still work and never go to jail because they going to deport her to Singapore for a British court. It's just ridiculous. What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slap bang in the middle of the charming lady's back, I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in there. You know, to some degree, he has a point. It still means that he committed murder, but as someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really, really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. No, you don't. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in it for the victim and got hit to her before me. No, it wasn't Bambi. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart.
You're implicating Ray again?
She's the one who gave the poison to the English woman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap, this Journal here is off the hook. No, you're not. Look, there is a chance actually that Ray might have given her the poison. I will not say that there is no chance for that. There is a small possibility that she did poison her. Unless the judge is a moron, he will be in jail. No, the judge will let him go. Because he stabbed her when she was already dead, because that gives you a free card out of jail, right? Except it doesn't. The argument is sound, certainly. That man must really like it when those suspenders slap his chest. Yes, apparently. He's a masochist. If the witness had administered the poison himself, he need only to have waited for it to take effect. Yes, but then he had the perfect opportunity to frame it on someone else. Subsequently, stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical, just like your brain.
And therefore this reporter had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite logical.
That's right, it is logical and true. I'm glad you've all seen the light. Justice at last. Why is Japan so obsessive with justice? Japan is very obsessive with justice, but at the same time, Japan is not known for being very justice.
This is unbelievable. And after I'd made so much progress improving his guild, is he going to get away with it now? Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san. They never stopped looking for a way for. They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel.
Gavel. It's like naval, but different. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination in this trial. Oh my god, the game is actually even spoiling me now.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I need to save for once. Like, I stopped saving for like ages. Mr. Coffee, I will assume that you are about to head off to bed. Am I right? Perhaps it's not a clear answer. Yes. Okay. So then I shall stop here and we're gonna continue this in another stream. Is this okay with you, Coffee? It's up to... No, it's up to you. I'm not the person who needs to go in to bed very soon. I'm on a holiday right now. Okay. Okay, let me rephrase this. Not making any choices. Okay, let me rephrase this. Do you want me to continue for another half hour? Or shall we call it here? What do you want? I'm okay with any choice. Well, for me, I will go sleep in a few minutes. Well, then I would say it's a good time to stop here, right? We cool? Are we green? For real? For real? You can keep going if you want. I'm fine with missing some brain damage. What if we are blue, also high again, and I lost internet for a few minutes? Welcome back. No, then I will stop here.